Ray Sanchez from Stockholm. Emotional hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the money goes in pre-flop.
Yeah.
You're a huge dog.
Yeah, I am. I have like 20%.
Your heart rate jumps by about 100% once you spike the king on the
Yeah.
turn. Ace on the river. End of the day.
I'm not too satisfied, but I can't do anything now. So,
Yeah. Except collect the money and
yeah, exactly.
take your holiday.
Exactly.
You're going to Miami for a week.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have like 10 more days of holiday, so
Okay.
it's gonna be nice.
Yeah, you got some extra money to spend.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks.
Thanks.
William Erickson, the button American professional player, moneyed for over 100 grand at the 2004 World Series of Poker. Troy Otto's visor is now forwards and upside down. Seems to change every time I see him. Troy folds. Eric Baldwin, who has been very quiet, came in as the fourth chip position, 8-7 offsuit, folds. Chris Cornell folds. The button for William Erickson, another short stack. He's going to fold. The big flick, Charlie Flicker from Montreal. All in with 6-4 offsuit for Charlie. Oh, Shannon's got pocket queens in the big blind. Of course, an instant call. Pocket queens for Shannon Shore are Canadian. Charlie the big flicker faces elimination with 6-4. He really started the final table as a crowd favorite. Of course, he was the only Canadian. He is the only Canadian. I shouldn't say was yet. The only Canadian at the final table, definitely a crowd favorite. Go, Flick, go! The big flicker flops two pair. 7-6-4 on the flop. He outflops the queens. Now, Shannon's going to need a 7, a queen, or a running pair. Shannon now needs a king or a 7 or a queen to eliminate Charlie Flicker. Otherwise, our Canadian player will survive. Ace on the river. Charlie, the big flick, survives. Beats Shannon's queens with his 6-4 offsuit. He always wears his lucky Winnipeg Jets hat. Obviously, the ghosts of the Winnipeg Jets are there today for Charlie Flicker. That's his second double through at the final table. He came in bottom chip position. He's still very short stacked, but Charlie is clawing his way back into the tournament. Tell you what, double through a 6-4 offsuit a couple more times and you'll be in good shape. 7 players remain at the Party Poker Canadian Poker Championship, and only one Canadian, Charlie, the big flicker. Maybe we better rename him Mr. 64.
I would say luck of the Irish, but today, so far for Charlie, it's luck of the Canadian. Badly dominated 4-6 against a queen. 4-6 on the flock, baby. He gets one more double through, he's going to get back in this thing.
6,400 in the pot to start us off, and the button is in seat 9 with Troy Otto. Ace, deuce of diamonds for the short-stacked William Erickson. He folds. The big flick from Montreal folds. Shannon Shore in second position, second chip position with pocket threes.
7,000.
Shannon makes it 7,000 to go. Sebastian gets out of the way. Pocket threes for Troy Otto.
Call.
Threes are dead. Troy makes the call. Eric folds to Chris Cornell with a 9-8 offsuit in the big blind. Call. Troy's call adds money to the pot. You got connectors, you got a ton of chips. Not a bad call. See if you can get lucky and hit the flop. Chris has hit the flop. Top 2 pair for Chris Cornell. He double checks his cards. Interesting. And Chris sets the trap. Checks his top 2 pair.
$10,000.
Shannon bites, puts out a bet of 10,000 chips. with pocket threes. And Troy's going to raise with his pocket threes. Another 70,000 chips from Troy Otto. Wow. It's an 80,000 chip bet. That's around half of Troy's stack. Good instinct. I mean, he knows Shannon's an aggressive player. He knows that Shannon makes that continuation bet a high percentage of the time. Forgot to factor in Chris, of course, who's sitting behind him with top 2 pair. How does Chris want to play it?
All in.
He moves all in. He's going to put Troy to the ultimate question. Chris, of course, has everybody at the table stacked. Shannon folds. Back to Troy Otto, facing elimination if he decides to call. Hard to imagine that he will, but again, he knows that Chris Cornell can be a very aggressive player. He's going to give some thought to the possibility that Chris, the Tennessee lumberman, is bluffing.
Not that much more. What does that mean? I don't know.
Chris has played another hand perfectly. He's hit a lucky flop, but he's managed to get 90,000 chips into the pot from his 2 opponents who are holding hands much, much weaker than Chris Cornell's top 2 pair. No Limit Hold'em is the luck element of the game is not only what cards you have, but what cards your opponent has. And in this case, Chris has gotten very lucky. He's had first Shannon and then Troy bluff off 90,000 chips between the 2 of them into Chris's 2 pair. Chris gets up and goes for a walk. Goes to the rail. And Troy does fold. Wow, Chris Cornell just continues to run away with this thing at the final table. That's going to take him close to 650,000, close to 700,000 chips. Ace-4 offsuit for William Erickson on the button. He's going to put in a raise. William makes it 7,000 to go. Charlie Flicker in the small blind, nursing his small stack expertly, folds. And Shannon Shore with a 9-8 offsuit in the big blind. Shannon calls. Looking to hit a flop and put William Erickson onto the rail. 2 players to the flop. A 10 deuce deuce. Both players miss completely. Shannon checks. And William makes the continuation bet of 7,000. Shannon has absolutely nothing. And he will call. Almost certainly setting up a bluff on the turn. The only reason to call there is really you're intending to bluff on the turn. Shannon checks. Maybe not. William now has a gut shot. Any 5 will give him a straight. Of course, he